What if love ruled the world? What we're talking about today is the violence that's happening in the world today. What is the root cause of this violence? And some key ideas to how to begin to solve this. Hi, I'm Janet McKee, speaker, best-selling author, wellness expert, and the founder of Sauna View, where we inspire and teach you ways to embrace a better life, a life that is more successful in all areas of your life. My heart and my prayers go out to everyone who has experienced the violence and the hatred that we've seen in the world. It hits home for us here because we just experienced yesterday, right in our backyard here in Pittsburgh, one of those traumatic and very tragic acts of violence. And my heart goes out to those that lost their lives, have been injured, to the police force that risked their lives to save people, and especially to everyone that's been left behind to suffer from such a tragic loss. But as I teach in my Triumphant Life and High Performance teachings, is problems are actually opportunities. And I always teach you to ask yourself, what good could possibly come from this? And first of all, what I've experienced and witnessed is that people come together in these moments of tragedy. As a matter of fact, my son contacted me to tell me what was happening, to make sure that I was staying home and staying safe. I contacted my parents to discuss the tragic happenings. I even received a phone call from a friend, one of my good friends from New York for many years who I hadn't spoken with for a few years, and we reconnected because of this tragedy. And coming home from my farm yesterday, I drove past a church that I drive past every time. And I noticed there were so many more cars lined up to go in, and I'm sure to say prayers for the people that had experienced a direct impact of these tragedies. But what these challenges also offer us is a motivation to find solutions. We become motivated to think of, first of all, how can we prevent these or protect ourselves from these in the future? And so there's been discussion about more security and more protection. And that is very wise. And yes, we need a short-term solution to these ongoing problems that continue to happen across the country and around the world. But we also need to realize that these are band-aids to a symptom. And there's actually an underlying root cause to what's happening in the world today. And the root cause, I believe, is that we no longer value each other. We see our differences and we criticize people and we judge people because of our differences. Our differences in the way we live, our differences of opinion, and we no longer value life. America, especially, in this country, we are a mix, a fascinating mix of different religions, different cultures, different races. That's what makes this country what it is. And it's so fascinating. My father was an immigrant from Italy with his family, my grandparents and my aunts and uncles many years ago. And he told us that when he arrived here as an immigrant, he was treated poorly because he was different. And he wanted us to be very American as his children. I remember times when my own husband would criticize me because of the way I was changing the way I eat and some of my thoughts. Even though he saw me in the hospital bleeding and I couldn't eat, and I came out of the hospital and resolved my health challenge because I learned how to eat differently. But it's okay, I understand, because he was afraid of the way I was changing and I was different. So we judge and we criticize people that are different from us. And we need to look at this. The way to begin to change the world around us is to begin to change ourselves. And so this created in me a question. Where am I critical of others? And where do I pass judgment on people that are different from me? And I want you to ask yourself the same. Is it really necessary to look at other people in such judgmental ways? And yes, in this country, we have the freedom of speech, and it is amazing that we can speak our opinion. But we need to truly evaluate where we are being ultra critical and ultra judgmental just because someone is different. In order to change the world, we must begin to change ourselves. This trouble in the world, this violence, right? All of this criticism and negativity that we see in the world, we give that so much focus. We have forgotten that we are created from something amazing, from something wonderful. Whatever your beliefs are, we are all children of God or source energy. We are all created from love. And we must begin to value each other and view each other in that way. And we need to teach our children to view each other as children of God and how we've all come from love. We need to be curious of the differences that we each have and have compassion because of the different upbringings and the different family situations that we've all come from. And how boring life would be if we were all the same, right? We need to look at on TV, right? The violence, the criticism. We have cultivated a culture of negativity. It's human nature to focus on all that is negative. And what we must begin to do is focus on the good. We must reach for all that is actually good in the world and turn away from the ongoing bombardment of all that TV wants to continue and social media continue to tell us that all that is wrong. So we tend to focus on the few people in the world that are committing these acts of hatred. So the question is, what if love ruled the world? So I began to ask that question and I did some research. And what would it be like if love actually ruled the world? So let's see. We have about 7 billion people in the world. So if we were to consider, let's say just half of them did an act of kindness today, that would mean 3.5 billion people smiled at someone today, gave a compliment to someone today. 3.5 billion people gave someone a warm handshake, or maybe even a hug or a kiss today. 7 billion people celebrate their birthday every year. And what does that mean? On average, 19 million people celebrate their birthday every day. And what is a birthday? A birthday is celebrating the day that you came into this world as a beautiful baby from parents that loved you. Research shows there are 27,254,366 marriages in a given year. As a matter of fact, the report was from Albania to Zimbabwe, and each country reported how many marriages they had that year. But for some reason, Zimbabwe hasn't reported since 1969. Does that mean there are no more marriages in Zimbabwe? I don't know. But anyway, Yemen had 10,394 marriages. So from Albania to Yemen, 27 million marriages. That's a lot of love going on in a given year. In 1 year, there are on average 130 million babies born each year. That means on average 356,000 babies are born every day. That is a lot of incredible positive energy of love that happens every single day around the world. So now I have to take this a little bit further and a little bit deeper. And I'm trying to lighten this conversation. So if there were 130 million babies born in a given year, that means 130 million couples made love that year. And that means that we want to multiply by 2, because there's 2 people in a couple, 260 million people made love. And that's only the people that created a baby. So let's just, for conservative reasons, multiply by 10 to include other people that are sharing love at the most intimate level with each other. That's 2,600,000. And the research shows that couples, on average, make love about once a week. That means there are 370 million people sharing love in the most intimate way every single day. I would say that love does rule the world. The fact that these episodes upset us is beautiful because it shows that we're actually filled with love. The opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. And we certainly do not feel indifferent about the situations because we actually come from a place of love. But what we give our attention to is what we give our power to. When I'm working with a client, helping them deal with cancer, for example, I teach them how foods and lifestyle fight cancer. But then I teach them we don't want to fight cancer. It gives cancer the energy. We want to bring in health and wellness. And we need to do the same thing here for the world. We need to focus on all the love, all the caring, all the compassion, all the kind gestures that people give every single day. To give that more energy in ourselves, in our lives, and around the world. Because everything that happens to us around us is a reflection of what's happening inside of us. So again, we must work on ourselves first in order to have an impact on the world. The more we wrap the world in love, the more we're going to see that and experience that in the world. And the more it will continue to grow. And the more that is what will have power. Have love on your mind today and send it out into the world. Because trust me, love does rule the world. I want you to join us online. I want you to invite us to speak to your groups. I want you to attend one of our off-site retreats where we immerse you in the teachings of how to live your most successful life. Join us at sonavu.com. and learn how to embrace a better life. You are ready, you deserve it. And I share this with you because you know that I love you. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.